was bad. It was bad. In and out of jails, fighting anybody and everybody, fighting with myself. I was full of anger. I was full of hurt, survivor's guilt. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I could not stand to see the man I would see.
I was severely depressed. I didn't know what was happening to me. I wasn't balanced.
Couldn't sleep for 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Trying to fall asleep, the body was itching, just turning and twisting.
Wake up covered in sweat. I was tired all the time. And I also had dreams.
It's like you're alcoholic, but instead of alcohol, it's stress hormones.
If there's someone that went to war, then there's someone that dealt with PTSD.
My training as a clinical social worker was the way you heal from trauma is you get 2 years of therapy and counseling and all that sort of stuff. And that was the paradigm that I had to work with because that's the paradigm I was trained in. But that paradigm just broke in Ethiopia because no one had a therapist. No one would find a therapist. They didn't exist there. And so I realized the paradigm must be wrong, because these people cannot be destined to a life of trauma and never be able to heal simply because they were born in a poor country.
I tried everything that I could possibly find under the sun.
I didn't believe in medications and over-medicating people, and the guys were in a fog, and it wasn't working.
I would go away for a month at an inpatient PTSD clinic, and I would come out just as crazy as I was before I went in. They were not working for me. If anything, I was just getting re-triggered.
Soldiers don't want to go to counseling in general because in counseling they have to retell the story of something that's very disturbing for them. They would rather just figure out a way to heal. So they don't want to talk about it and they don't want to take drugs or medications. They don't like doing it, but they're doing it because they are desperately looking for some way to heal. What happens is the shaking mechanism begins to soften the body, and it begins to downregulate the nervous system. So all you do is you lay and you tremor, and it's the brain automatically starting to calm down the primitive brain, because that's how it calms itself down, by shaking. And as it calms down the primitive brain, then you have access back to the logical brain again, and your thinking can be restored.
And that's what I needed. I needed tools to deal with stress and anxiety. Nobody can fix this for us. It's an inside job.
When I learned this technique, I was convinced that I needed to tell it to everyone that I could ever talk to, any veteran that I met that I knew that was struggling.
The first time I did it, very skeptical. I'd been through enough treatments that didn't work. I was not so gullible. But it did work, and it was pretty easy to learn, but it had a profound impact. These simple exercises were doing wonders for me. I slept the first night I did it.
If I would have known TRE then, in Kosovo or in Afghanistan, if my team would have known it when we were deployed, we could use it once a week, once every second day, discharge that stress instead of growing a bit numb and taking larger, bigger risks.
The trauma release exercises pretty much saved my life. It saved my relationship when I was struggling. And we have a responsibility as Americans to take care of the warriors, the ones that sacrifice blood, sweat, and tear in their lives.
It doesn't cost anything. Once you learn it, you have it for the rest of your life, and you can share it with everyone you know.
The reason this works so well with soldiers, and I've worked with thousands of soldiers all over the world in many different countries, is because it's an exercise routine which soldiers are very familiar and comfortable with exercise. So already they start to feel safe. The exercise routine activates a tremor mechanism that inside, when it happens, feels unusually comfortable.
And the feedback we get is that it's life-changing to them. They feel self-empowered to have a tool that they can use themselves instead of depending on doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists.
If we can get it instituted in the military through military research projects, then you will have the Red Cross, WHO, all these other international organizations embracing it wholeheartedly as a self-help technique for these large traumatized populations which they work with all over the world.
It's my mission to get this into the military. I will do everything I can do to make sure the military looks at this, studies it, evaluates it, and inculcates it into our warriorship. It's a missing component. It's a missing link to completing the cycle of warriorship so that you can own your experience and not be owned by it.
I want people to know that you can recover from PTSD. You can find happiness. You can find health. You will find well-being. You can have the life you've always wanted. It's yours for the taking.
Why don't we curtail the symptoms of PTSD, teach the soldiers how to take care of themselves with a simple exercise that takes 15, 20, 30 minutes.
Today, part of my mission is to assist spreading TRE, teaching it to one person at a time.
We need to teach the tools that are working, and we need to get them to the men and women that need them the most.
There were things that I could do for myself that were more powerful than anything that anyone was giving me, than any pill anyone gave me, or any psychological treatment that anyone gave me. This was something that was mine and mine alone, and I could do it when I wanted to do it.
And that's been one of the greatest gifts that I've had.
It's a technique that you can learn and carry with you and share for the rest of your life. That's what TRE is, and I hope you support it.